All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Respect and love always. Anyways, I got something pretty amazing to share with you today. I've been wanting to share this particular video for quite some time, but for some reason, it never works out. So I'm going to give it another shot. I took this photo a few years ago. It's not too far from my house, about a 25-minute drive. Same place where I see the leprechauns and the fairies and the dogmen and some Sasquatch and some things that I'm not quite sure what they are. And I'm going to share with you a couple of photos of those not quite so sure what they are today. It's a beautiful picture I took when I first went to this canyon. This is the very end of the canyon. It's in a beautiful area called Starved Rock. I'm not going to disclose the particular canyon, but I go there all the time. It's the same place where the leprechauns are. You could see that video here too. But I want you to focus on this up here, this particular area, this whole section. It's got to be about 80 feet up. There's a trail that you can take that goes way up and around, but it's really hard to get up there. It's a very magical place. There's rocks that actually have stairs carved into them. It's incredible. I'll post those pictures. But I wanted to share with you something that stands right here. Now, I'm going to invert this photo, which is something that is on any basic photo editing program, any Photoshop or any basic photo editing will have invert. You've seen it. It's the purple. You've seen this before. Well, this has gone unnoticed because when you turn things inside out, it makes the light dark, and the dark light making things much more exposed. So if you focus on this area right here, I actually cropped this area in another photo to zoom in. This is it. This is just the upper area with all the beans in it. Focus right here on this part of the tree. See the light? This line in the perfect shape of an eyeball almost? Well, in fact, it is an eyeball. And when you invert it, you see his eye, nostril, and his mouth is open. And so that's the naked eye. You wouldn't see that. I'm not sure how this interdimensional being does this, but you can see the tree part through the light. And when you invert it, you see his nostril, his eye. You can even see the little crease underneath his eye, and he has his mouth open. And this is the side of his head, and it goes way up, and this is the top of his ear. I don't know if this is an ear. You can't see the other one because it's behind the tree, as well as his left eye. But you see this? I thought maybe that was an ear. It could be a helmet of some sort. I'm just the messenger sharing this with you. I'm not quite sure if this is a reptilian or a dog person, guardian. He's definitely guardian something. I promise you that. There's other beings in this photo here that you would not see with the naked eye. This right here is an eyeball. This right here is an eyeball. And you could just barely see the outline of his head behind this tree. But when you invert it, you could see his eyeball, and this is his tail. He's like a little tiny monkey. Cat monkeys, I call them. Here's another one right here. And there's another one right here I just noticed. You could see his mouth, his nostrils. That looks like a little tiny Sasquatch, to be honest with you. But this guy right here with his mouth open, You can also see another one behind him, which is more. You can see his eyeball right here. Hopefully I'm not going too fast and you can see this. But this guy in the middle, that's what you see with the naked eye. And when you invert it, it brings them to life. There's another being right here, his eyeball. I don't know if you could see these things, but if you take your time, get your glasses, you could see them. There's another one right here. He's half behind a tree. This is half of his mouth, half of his nose, his eye, and this is the side of his face. You can see the fur. And he looks like he has a horn. I've seen many creatures with horns, beings. But you see, he's the light. To the naked eye, he's just the light, the sun, the light. But when you invert it, see right here, it exposes him. The more you look, the more you see. And they are the trees. This guy right here, there's another one. This tree, this, focus on that tree right there. You can see the light, how that light is. There's several. Not only was this guy here with the eyeballs and the tail, his tail has got moss on it. You can see it to the naked eye. Oh, wrong picture. Yeah, that was the naked eye. To the naked eye, see that curve? That's the tail of an interdimensional. And it's covered, it's appearing to have moss on it. I'm not sure if it actually has moss on it or if it just appears, because his eye has the same thing. And then when you invert it, it really kind of exposes his tail there. You could see his eyes more and the outline of his head and the fuzz. But this guy was the one I was showing you and I lost track there. His face is in the tree. It's the crease of his eye. This is the outline of his face. This is his beard, his nostril. You can only really see half of his face for some reason. Unless this is it, the other eye right here. I never really looked deeper. But there's so many mixed up that they're layered. They're layered upon each other. That really throws the eye off. If you were able to see them, you would be very confused because of the way they layer on top of each other. So here is the original of that picture. I had walked to the end of that canyon. It was my first time ever walking down to the very end. It's one of the most magical places I've ever been in my life, and I've been to quite a few. I took this photo, and these creatures are up here. These beings, rather. They're people. They're more intelligent than all of us. And you can see when I invert it, you can get a kind of an understanding of how tall they are. I mean, this hill is almost impossible to climb. You have to go around. But you could see that they're up here. Close that. See that? That's the mouth, his nostril, and his eye. Just to give you an idea of how tall that is up there. But I'm about up to here when I'm standing. The ground is right here. Don't want to dwell on this photo too long. I'd like to get some other ones. This picture I took at about 2009. Me and my son stopped for a moment right before we were leaving our camping trip that we had been planning for so long. For the first time ever, he was about 9 years old. And I snapped a picture in the reflection of the window of the car. And years later, I didn't see it in 2009 when I took the photo until many years later, probably about 3 years ago, when I started to go back into all my old photos and try to invert them once I figured out this inversion thing. And when I inverted this, I realized that these lines, This is a female Sasquatch in the tree. See the light? You can follow the light. She is the light. This is one of the harder ones to see. But when you invert the light, it exposes her. I'll do it a few times. This is her face. This is the top of her head. It goes down her back, her bottom, and her legs come all the way down. You can't see her feet, but she's back here. She's kind of straddling this tree here. Her left arm is you can't see it. It's going underneath the right arm, which is coming around behind this tree, which is right here. And these are her fingers right here. And if you zoom in on those fingers, you can see her fingernails. This is the fuzz on the top of her hand, her fur. This is her face outline. You can see a little mouth. There might even be a couple other babies on top of her, layering, making things confusing to the eye if they were able to be seen. Sometimes 3 of them can make one. I don't know how they do it. I just see it. This is the top of her head, or the top of a couple. There might be one peeking out right here. I think that is an eyeball right there of another one peeking from behind her. But this is the top of her head, her back, her butt. It goes all the way down her legs here, and you can't see her feet. But it would come back up here, her arm. It tucks under here, it tucks under this one, and her fingers are right here. That's what you see to the naked eye. You can see right through her because she is the light. This is an extra special picture. I wasn't going to share this, but since it's open, I want to share with you a couple of trolls that are down here. I know I've posted this photo before, but they are right underneath this female Sasquatch. There's many, they're never alone. They're always grouped together, many different ones. And I'll show you another one after this. But this right here, I thought it was a baby Sasquatch, but you could see its nose. And it looks like it's sleeping. And there's one watching it with a very pointy nose. There's the bridge between its eyes and its pointy nose. But it was in a dark shadow there. This is you could barely see it until you lightened it up. But the troll people are real. And there's another being in this particular photo as well that is just incredible. Oops. Look right here. See these twigs that are all lit up in the light. Right here. When you invert this area right here, it exposes this little fellow right here. Check this out. See this guy? He's like a little owl person. This is his mouth and his legs right here and another leg here. It looks like he has a wing in his little head. But to the naked eye, during the day, uninverted, you just see twigs on the light. This is true. I got one more photo with you I'm going to leave you with tonight. Like each one of these photos have a big piece of my heart involved in it and a long story. And also each one involves my family. I walk with complete respect and love at all times. This is an area that is an actual sacred burial ground, Native American sacred burial ground. Sometimes I think with this inversion, and one of the reasons I'm sharing it is just so maybe technology can learn like where they're going to build homes, like places they shouldn't build homes, because if you could see them, then you would know you're not supposed to be there, because bad things come to those who walk in such places. I will not walk in these lands, and this is one of them. I pulled over on the side of the road. I heard a crow. Take that back. It was a raven and a coyote. Sounded like they were talking. It's one of the signs when I hear that, I always know they're near. So I jumped out of the car. I looked into this field and I prayed and I thanked them and I took this photo. And when I got home and I inverted it, well, before I inverted it, I was focused right here. And I know it's going to be hard for you to see. It's hard for me to see. I'm going to put my glasses on too. But right here is an elder Sasquatch. An old Sasquatch sits here with another Sasquatch. But they do, this is not a bush right here. There's another Sasquatch behind him who has a cross on his head. He wears the cross on his forehead between his eyes. I don't know why. You can't see it that well to the naked eye, but when you invert it, watch. You get an idea. You could see the cross. You could see an eye. And here's the hair of the elder Sasquatch, the point of the very top of his head. And you can see his nose and his teeth, his eye, his left eye and his right eye. He's very old. And there's another one. You could just see the outline of its face right here. At first, I thought that was a skull, but it's not. It's the face of another one sitting there. You could see the top of its hair. But you cannot see that with the naked eye. But when you turn the light inside out, you can see it. These are true light beings. There's another one here. I call this the crescent moon people. I don't know if it's easy, hard for you to see. He's right above the one with the cross. But if you stare at that for a minute, you might see his face. It's the shape of a crescent moon. This is his eye. He has a red cheek in the bottom, in his mouth and his nose. I've never seen their bodies. They have little bodies and larger heads. And they spend quality time with the Sasquatch folk, which are right here. So to the naked eye, you can't not see that. Hopefully this new microphone's working and it's not too loud or too quiet. I thank you all for being here, and I hope that this is working and you're understanding this. I will go do another show eventually where I explain how to do this, but I just wanted to get another show out because it's been a while. So again, to the naked eye, you cannot see that Sasquatch. There's many others in here, but the main purpose of this photo is to show you the two that are here. But that elder Sasquatch was actually what caught my attention when I first opened this photo. And I saw him and the moon man before I even inverted the photo. I've been doing this for such a long time that I can see the outlines in the trees. So notice right here, it looks like a tree. You can see a stem back there, but I'm not quite sure that's actually part of the tree. Because when you invert it, you see these guys. When I got home and I did this and I first saw this, my heart skipped a beat. And when I was meditating on it, I asked who they were. I said, my heart said two-spirit. because I see two. I see a man on the left, his eyebrows lower, very low, and his eyes very close to his eyebrow. His nostrils here and his lips are full and wide. And the other side is clearly a female. You can see her lips are full and long. Her eyes are gorgeous. It looks like her eyelashes are, you could see her eyelashes. And she's smiling. Him, not so much. Thank God for women. Are these gods? I don't know. I believe these are spirit beings or giants. But I called them two-spirit. They did reply and tell me that I was two-spirit. So then it left me back into not knowing exactly what they are. I believe they're giants. I believe they're living giants. That is not photoshopped. That is not artwork. That is inversion. That's turning the light inside out. The light to the dark and the dark to the light. It exposes them. And as I said, this is a sacred burial ground. This is a place I'll never visit again because I know better. That's the message. So there's another giant. Oh, there's a living giant in this photo that I'd like to share with you back here that I've never pointed out to anybody. He also has big, full lips. I've made the comment that they kind of have big, full lips like Steven Tyler, and they do. These trees are probably, I don't know, 60 feet tall? Maybe not, maybe 30, I don't know. Not quite sure, but they are taller than these trees. And this guy is kind of hard to see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. His nose is right here, and his lips come down like this. You can see the perfect line in his lip. The left side, the rest disappears behind the trees. His eyes up here, his nose. He's peeking through these two trees here. And this is the top of his head. I don't know if they actually put bushes and trees in their hair. That would make sense. I'm pretty sure they do. But he's right here, peeking through these two trees. His right eye, his nose, and his full lips. See him? See her? With her big full lips. Him too. There's the side of his head. I think this might be his ear. I'm not quite certain if he's got these ears. That's a real living giant, ladies and gentlemen. That is not Photoshop. That is not painting. That is a photo turned inside out. Why would it line up with a tree when it isn't even the tree? They can go inside the trees. They're capable of anything. Thanks a lot for coming, you guys. Thanks a lot. Bless you all. I hope you have a beautiful evening. Peace.